Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to another edition of the Wrestling Underground podcast. This is your year-end podcast. We are 22 skidooing, straight on down to 2022. I'm your host, Jeff Bordeaux. Joining me, as always, is the glorious one, Marcus Green. Marcus, we're not going to have a long show, but we're going to have a poignant show because we're talking about our wrestling year-end awards.
Yes, sir.
We're gonna be talking about who made the cut, then ranting on some AEW douchebags, or not AEW douchebags, but you know, the people who don't like AEW. So it's the 27th. I have a Christmas movie recommendation for everyone. First and foremost, can we all just agree that the greatest Christmas movie is not Die Hard, and I will punch people in the dick if they keep suggesting that hack-ass, B-tier action flick as a good Christmas movie. It's not even the best Die Hard movie. And you're going to tell me that is the best Christmas movie? Punch yourself in the dick. I will accept Die Hard 3 or 4 as the best. There is no other third option. 2, get out of here. 1, sit down. But the best Christmas movie, and Marcus, I'm open. I will allow a center-left option from you if you do not agree, because you're my brother, and I feel like I at least owe you the right to have a say in this. No one else.
No, I appreciate.
No one else gets one. 8 billion opinions in the world, and they can all fuck themselves. The best Christmas movie is also the best horror movie. It's also the best horror comedy. And it's also the best performance by Michael Winslow, a.k.a. the sound-making cop from the Police Academy movies. And that's the Gremlins film. Best theme song, best use of animatronics. There's a fucking Mogwai. He calls the dogs woof-woofs. If you love something, it's in this movie. Period. You like cute things? It's in this movie. You like terrifying things? It's in this movie. You like malfunctioning shit that doesn't work in this movie. You like house moms putting gremlins in microwave ovens. Granted, that's a bit specific. It's in this movie. Judge Reinhold, in this movie. Hottie McHot-Hots, in this movie. Little Evil Things singing hi-ho, hi-ho, in this movie. Bad.
Yeah. I mean, look, that's all the argument. People, it's funny thing is a lot of people forget that it is a Christmas movie because of obviously everything that's going on. But yeah, that's a tough one. That's a tough one.
So, what would you say is your favorite Christmas movie? I will even take off the reins of it needing to be a Christmas film, like The Faculty. It came out on the 25th of December. So if you have like a movie that you always watch on Christmas.
I feel like obviously a Christmas movie is just too stop. It's too stop for me. I mean, I got and this is another classic, but it just never gets old. And it's a personal favorite between the two of us. But this is like probably my favorite comedic actor of all time, who I would imagine what he went through in the role. But you got to go with The Grinch Who Stole Christmas with Jim Carrey for me. Like it's that perfect, me, the corny over some of it all, the over dramatic. It's vintage Jim Carrey. We've seen so many different versions of that incarnations, I would say, of the Grinch. But that one in particular, man, it just sticks to you. It just sticks to the ribs. Like the performance is so good, you can't even be disturbed by how he looks and the stuff of it all. Like I can only imagine what he had to go through every time he had to get ready for that. But he nailed it, man. That movie is an all-time classic, and he puts it on his back every time. And I think an honorable mention for me would also be Jack Frost. Keaton.
Yeah. That's one of those low keys that don't often get mentioned, kind of like low key.
Yeah, man. That movie every time he get me when he got to tell Jackie boy he got to go, man. You got to let me go, and he calls his mom up to the cabin, and he transforms back, and it's a whole to do. I'd have dry my room.
Nah, I don't blame you. As for Jim Carrey's The Grinch, I didn't like it when I first saw it back in 2000, but it's become my favorite quintessential version of The Grinch, mostly because of not the story, but all the patterning that he does in the scenes. Like when
Yeah.
he's flipping through the books, 5:30, dinner with me. I can't cancel that again. Like that's dumb. I love it. Or like when he's walking through the streets and like that at the start of the film and like the bicycle falls apart and he's like, "Oh no, there's been an accident. Whatever shall happen?" And then he hands the kids the saw. He goes, "Go on, run along now. Don't forget to run with it up." With the saw blade up. Like, oh my god, I love this. Like this is hilarious.
Just all of it, man. Like I don't know how much was improv or how much was in the script. I would imagine a lot of it because it's just you don't want to hold Jim Carrey back, but it's like it's everything. Like an award you never mentioned. An award. You'll see me, a winner. Although loser, like it's just you can't buy performances like that. They just got to happen.
He comes strutting out in that outfit right before he decides not to go, and he's like, "Oh yeah, I look great. That's it.
How,
I'm not going." And he just throws his arms up in the air.
how are you two still alive?
Oh yeah. I think one of the old ladies was the aunt from Sabrina. I
You
think.
I think I'm gonna go look up just like that cast because obviously they were in heavy prosthetics.
Yup.
But I was like, yo, man, that, and even with everything they had to do, he still had the highest task because of I don't even know how many hours he had to sit to go through that whole thing. But that's crazy. Certainly having a better time as Dr. Robotnik these days. I would imagine.
Maybe it was Mindy Sterling. Maybe she was one of the aunts.
We gotta go to Holiday Hooby Cheermeister. Holiday Hooby Weddy.
And Cindy Lou Who was absolutely adorable. Like Taylor Munson was the perfect person to play that role. She was so cute and so likable.
Oh, absolutely adorable. And also your other favorite part. It's because I'm green, isn't it?
Oh God, I love that. That's fantastic. All right,
Oh, about it. Yep.
let's Power of Jitsu is a bunch of assholes. So I do my show. Every show I tweet out, "Hey, come join us live on Twitch," and pretty much every week they go, "No." So I just respond back with my new favorite term of the day for them because they're an all-black podcast for anyone who doesn't know who they are. So I sent out my favorite, quote to them: "Racists," and they respond back with "Yup." I love those boys. They're good people. I love me some Power Bomb Jitsu. Good people. They always make me laugh. All right, let's talk about things that made me laugh this year, aka the wrestling awards. I have it somewhere. So we're like a month late on this, but at least we're not a year late. So same categories as always. I was able to fill it out. The only one that I feel like I didn't do enough work on to research, but it's really not my fault, is the women's feuds of the year. There's always just such a dearth of terrible fucking feuds. Like, even the good ones aren't that good. And it's not really something I would say is the women's fault, but like MLW doesn't have a women's division. The NWA doesn't have a good women's division. Impact's women's division is usually built around 3 people, like regardless of the year. And the WWE has 3 women's divisions that are like 12 women deep, and they all are terribly booked. Now, that said, yeah, there's Shine and Shimmer and WSU. I think Shine's gone. There's, multiple Joshi promotions, but I don't have the time to watch 45 fucking promotions in a goddamn year. I'm sorry. It's just not going to happen. And I'm not going to like overabundant this with terrible WWE feuds. Like, no. So there's 4 female feuds this year as opposed to 8 male feuds. And if you're mad about it, tell the women to get good or tell the writers for the women to get good. One or the other. I can only do so much with what I'm given, folks. I tried. I did. Speaking of trying, I tried to keep it into the mindset of one roster, one standout for most of the categories. Obviously, for like match of the year and most popular, that obviously changed a bit. But I feel like I did a nice enough job outside of the female wrestler of the year and down to try to get like one person from each brand. Once we got to female wrestler of the year, I just kind of like, all right, we're just gonna go with who's ever left, because I'm not doing one from each, because not every promotion is gonna have one from each from that point on. So here's what we got. Marga's first award of the year, wrestler of the year. We're gonna have y'all vote. I'm thinking 2 weeks, so like sometime first 2 weeks of January, we'll do the winners. Category wrestler of the year. The nominees are Roman Reigns, Big E, Kenny Omega, Josh Alexander, Bandito Alexander Hammerstone, your boy Shingo Takagi. That should be his ring name. Your boy, and Nick Aldis. Now, obviously Reigns has had a big feud. You know, yeah, he's beaten everyone. He's been WWE champion for 400 days. Big E defeated, who was it, Lashley or The Miz? I think it was The Miz. Was it The Miz? I think it was The Miz. Kenny Omega obviously had his huge feud where he was battling Impact, and he was a dual champion in 2 different promotions, 3 promotions counting AAA. Josh Alexander, long run with the X Division title. Then he won the world title for about 38 seconds before Moose ruined his entire evening. Alexander Hammerstone, 400 days champ as the openweight national champion or national openweight champion, and defeated Jacob Fatu to win the heavyweight title. Shingo Takagi became the first man to ever hold the IWGP World Heavyweight Championship with that terrible fucking belt. And Nick Aldis was the reigning NWA World's Heavyweight Champion for most of the year before he lost it to Trevor Murdoch. So, kind of gives you an idea on the rest of the year. Is there anyone you thought could have been in contention? Or do you feel like this is the perfect group of 8?
Say that first part again.
Do you feel like this is anyone that could have been in contention to join this list, or do you feel like this is the perfect group of 8?
No, I mean, I feel like this is it's a perfect group of 8 because this, like you said, this is consistent of the year to me. Instead of people who kind of just gain momentum late in the last couple months or so. All these guys have had kind of an extended, obviously Reigns, E has been building. Obviously, we saw what Omega was doing. Alexander, freaking Bandito was the champion for most of the year. We know Hammerstone was doing big things, and like I said, Takagi and all this. So I think that's a good solid group of 8. Like I said, when you do wrestler of the year, because I hate when people do stuff of the year and then it's like he just had, like he got the push in December.
CM Punk and Hook. Pass.
Like Hook, like he debuted yesterday. Like, yeah, but he's the next best thing. Yeah, but he just showed up yesterday.
And his hair's stupid, and I hate him.
He's stupid, and I hate him. He's got the hair like when you're trying to make a Super Saiyan on a wrestling game.
Oh my God, he does. Super Saiyan Hook. Oh, he's so much worse now. Like, he looks like a teenager. Like, he's like 14. Oh my God, look, you got your first pubic hair. That's so adorable.
Like, take him off of AEW and put him in what was the fight movie with was it Never Back Down?
I was thinking Three Ninjas.
was it Terrence Howard as the death? Put him in the sequel to that.
The newest member of the Muppet Babies, Hook.
He's the villain in season 5 Cobra Kai. Because as cute as the narrative is, we called it last season. Like, this whole fight for the soul of the valley. I'm like, y'all had crease dead to rights, and y'all chose to put it on the backs of the kids. That sounds like Goku when he was like, I could kill Boo, but I want the toddlers to do it. Like, what?
I'm gonna punch him in the snaz.
Oh my god.
Most consistent performer. This is our category for the wrestler who always brings his A-ist game, or her A-ist game, to the competition. Roman Reigns, Bryan Danielson, SpaghettiOs, Kenny Omega, Josh Alexander, Jonathan Gresham, Myron Reed, Will Ospreay, and Nick Aldis. Again, obvious choices. Bryan Danielson gets Wrestler of the Year nominations. Nope, he gets Most Consistent Performer of the Year nominations, excuse me, for his work on SmackDown, or Raw, one of the two.
Yep.
Kenny Omega, Roman Reigns, the Diamond Champion, obviously. Josh Alexander, we already talked about him. John Grisham, I was really thinking about putting in the Wrestler of the Year category, but I feel like when we talk about Wrestler of the Year, it needs to be the top guy.
Yeah.
It needs to be the focal point of the company. Now, Gresham was one of those reasons to tune in. And him facing off with Chris Sabin at the next Impact pay-per-view in 2 weeks, oh my God. I don't even care that Zack Ryder is in the main event going for a world title, which is the fourth sign of the apocalypse. Gresham Sabin? I'm buying that pay-per-view on that match alone. But I feel like when you're not the world champion, you really can't be considered the best of the year. It's like, yeah, you're a great sixth man on the NBA basketball team. You're Tyler Hero. You're dropping 20 a game. But you're not starting, homie. And if you ain't starting, you ain't in the conversation for the MVP. That's just how this is. Now, Gresham, if he holds on to this Ring of Honor world title through 2022, depending on if Ring of Honor even exists in 2022 or not, we'll reevaluate and maybe put him there. But I feel like, he was the sixth man of Ring of Honor, so most consistent performer is the best he can get. Myron Reed is somebody who doesn't get talked about enough. He's the fourth rascal. I've been talking about him quite a bit, and his Injustice gimmick kind of sucked. It never had the heat that it was supposed to have, and they came off more whiny than anything. And they were saying things that made sense, as in like, hey, yeah, I agree with you, but also like you're the bad guys. Like it was always kind of just, meh. Now Reed's kind of on his own. He's doing his own thing, and he's not really being utilized as much at the moment, but I think 2022 is going to be a big year for him, even if it's not in MLW. We'll see what happens with him. Will Ospreay, obviously, he's good. He's a dick. He's good, but he's a dick. And Nick Aldis, because as much as I love the NWA roster, I ain't giving it to Trevor Murdoch.
Oh man. And
Murdoch's done some good work. I want to say that. Murdoch's done some good work, but Nick Aldis is that one rare person where he's both the top guy and their best worker.
Yeah, which is, man, you're right. That is a rare combination. Now, obviously, there's a caveat to most consistent performer, because obviously the word consistent, there's a loophole there, and I think an honorable mention should go to somebody who may not ever wrestle again, which maybe why she should get an honorable mention is Nia Jax.
She was consistent. We did not say consistently good, folks. We did not say consistently good. Hey, goodbye. Let me hear you. Because, of course, I got to pull from Remember the Titans, obviously. Tag Team of the Year. If anyone votes for RK Bro, you're banned. They're only on here because I needed a Raw tag team. That's it. The Usos from SmackDown, AEW's The Young Bucks, Impact's The Good Brothers, Ring of Honor, Shane Taylor Promotions, mostly because like their tag team division, like their two-man tag division, wasn't really all that well utilized this year. And I feel like Shane Taylor Promotions, even though they were a six-man tag, was at least marketable and highlightable.
Yeah, they was pulling double duty too, because a lot of times it was the big guys kind of doing it themselves, which are formidable as well. So
Then you had MLW's Los Parks, Papa Park, and Little Park. Finjuice from New Japan because they were an Impact, and I'm biased. Not gonna lie. And then and NLW, yeah, that those were words. The NWA's La Rebellion, that's Bestia 666, and who is it? AR Wolf, Dragon Wolf, Dragon Fox. Yeah, Mecha Wolf. That's what it is. Mecha Wolf. Mecha Wolf 450. I was like, yeah, I'll remember this. Don't worry. Don't worry, I got this. Mecha Wolf and Bestia 666. Fun factoid for you WCW fans: if you remember Damien 666, the old luchador, this is his son, Bestia. Indie Developmental Wrestler of the Year. We're gonna need to figure out a new category for this next year, I think, because I don't know if indie should be with developmental anymore. Because we combined these initially like 3 years ago when NXT basically was buying up all the indie talent. So kind of got to rethink our stance. And also, I really did consider putting Zack Ryder on this, Matt Cardona, just for his GCW run. But also, I fucking hate Matt Cardona, and he's been in Impact for a year now, Marcus. Like, think about that. He's been in Impact for a year.
we've suffered every day.
I swear to God, Marcus, if he wins the Impact World title, I'm done. Until he leaves.
We're collectively throwing our memberships, and we're gonna play that. We got to play the classic theme song. Into the fire, into the fire.
Wasn't that the old NWA theme song?
Exactly. I want to trace it back. Like the minute they dropped that theme song and went to a new one, things started to go downhill from there.
I still remember CM Punk's first theme song. I think that was also Randy Orton's theme song for a moment. The more you know. Well, the Indie Developmental Wrestler of the Year Award. Nominees are Mance Warner, Nick Gage, J.R. Kratos, Chris Dickinson, Masha Slamovich, she's joining Impact, whoop whoop. Colby Carino, talk about a dude who gained a lot of muscle this year. We're going with Adam Cole, representing the lone NXT pick because fucking NXT. And then Omar Amir from OVW. I definitely think Nick Gage is going to win this, much to my chagrin. Oh, well. Then we have the Foreign Company Wrestler of the Year. I guess this is a hot take with Walter being on this, because technically, like, NXT UK is the WWE, but, like, also they're in the UK, or at least, was. And I don't know what Walter's doing anymore in terms of his long-term status with the company, but he's on this list. We also have Swama, the Great Muda, your boy Shingo Takagi, Laredo Kid, Ultimo Guerrero, Lady Flamir. Yeah, that's right. And then Utami Why do I do this to myself?
This would be.
We're just going to call him Utami. That's it.
It's not like
See, it's like the
Hayashi
Shita. Hayashi Shita?
That sounds better.
She's from Stardom. And she's super talented. I can't say her name to save my life. So we're just going to call her Tommy and we're going to move on. Guess fuck. Mike Worker of the Year. MVP. Paul Heyman. CM Punk. Eddie Kingston. There's your favorite. Sammy Callahan. Cesar Duran, a.k.a. Dario Cueto. The Pope. And my pick, Danhausen. He's going to win the Awardhausen. It's going to be great.
Even though I've watched nothing of him this year, I'm just going with the Pope. I'm biased.
I don't mind that. I put him on there partly because I wanted to have someone that you enjoyed. I mean, not to say I don't enjoy the Pope. I do. He's crazy talented. Best gimmick, Bobby Lashley's prize fighter gimmick from earlier this year. That was pretty dope. Roman Reigns, head of the family, or head of the table, or table head, table family table? Head table. What does everybody want? Kenny Omega's belt collector, Josh Alexander's best worker, Danhausen's Gimmickhausen. You're goddamn right I'm picking this one. Richard Holiday's spoiled brat. By the by, Richard Holiday has his own new brand of coffee, and I'm going to buy it. It's going to happen. I love Richard Holiday so damn much. Will Ospreay's real champion and Trevor Murdoch's throwback. So those are your best gimmicks of the year. And if you don't pick Danhausen, we're going to have some problems. The most improved, Punishment Martinez, Bianca Belair, Hangman Page, Josh Alexander, Shane Taylor, Aries of MLW, Carl Fredericks, and Colby Corino. I know he's not going to win, but Aries, I think, is someone that people are really going to like going forward because he's going to get a lot more airtime on MLW, and his gimmick and look, his shtick is just very good. I dig it. I feel like Hangman Page is going to win just because like popularity and whatnot. But can we all give some respect to Colby Corino, who like 2 years ago was maybe a $140, and now he's like a legit 190 of muscle, and he looks like a wrestler instead of just looking like a beanpole. Good for you, Colby Corino. Good for you.
Always appreciate, man. It's a lot of it's hard. It's work to put in, like specifically when you are naturally skinny like that.
Mm-hmm.
Like, because new trailer for the Batman dropped today.
Yup.
And they did this shot of Pattinson. I'm like, he's a naturally lean, kind of lanky guy, and what muscle looks like on him looks completely different on somebody else. But you could tell he really, did what he could for the role. So I always respect these guys when they can change their bodies like that.
I gotta say, like I had some concerns about Zoe Kravitz being Catwoman, but that just her delivery of those lines just it feels right.
I didn't think I was gonna like him talking, but you got a lot of cats.
He sounds so emo. You got a lot of cats. Ugh. Alfred, it's the Riddler. Ugh.
You lied to me, Alfred.
Alfred, you lied to me. I'm going to my room to listen to some Smiths.
The Smiths.
Love will always keep us apart. Oh, God, Robert Pattinson, emo man. I love it. I want it. All in my veins. Like, I really am digging on Zoe Kravitz. And, like, why wouldn't I? Like, look at who her parents are. Of course she's talented and pretty.
Literally the best of Lisa Bonet and Lenny Kravitz. It's just epic.
Oh, perfect. Love it. Speaking of love it, arrival of the year, favorite wrestlers popping up in new promotions. CM Punk makes the list. So does Bryan Danielson, Adam Cole, Mercedes Martinez, Mike Bennett, Davey Richards, Jonah, and Austin Aries. I had to put someone from NWA. What do you want from me, people? There's only so many options. And notice how there's no WWE on this list. And I'm all right with that.
Too many people left, so you got a rival.
Right? Sorry.
Also, then leave. Booted. You have to have a choice when you leave.
Yep. So this is where we stop trying to figure out like which promotional representative, and we're just going with the most obvious picks from here on out. Comeback of the year, Melina, Mickie James, Sting, Jazz, Christian Cage, Chris Sabin, Trevor Murdoch, Tajiri. Now, Melina, granted, Melina's been around for a while. She came back in the NWA last year, but she's really had some really good matches this year. And comeback isn't just about returning. It's about stepping up your game as well. And I feel like Melina maybe had her best year in wrestling as a performer since when she was champion. Mickie James has had her best year in wrestling since she left Impact. Granted, when you get kissed by the train, it's really hard to have a worse year than that. Because you were kissed by the train once again. That classic Seal song.
It's from a Rose, one of my favorites.
It's a great song.
Uh,
I miss when Batman had romantic melodies in his musical accompaniments.
R.I.P. to Joel Schumacher, man, because that song was dead in the water until he put it on that soundtrack.
Oh, was it? I thought it was made for
Yeah,
that soundtrack.
no, it was it wasn't doing anything. Seal Talbot, he basically saved that song because he put it on the soundtrack because it became a part of the whole deal. He heard it and he was like, I got to put it on here. And then obviously they did a music video to it, so for the movie. So that was yeah.
I just remember basically Seal was doing his best Shawshank Redemption impersonation. He's on top of the building and it's raining and his shirt's kind of like unbuttoned and there's the bat signal.
Florida, yeah, that classic '90s music video, by the way.
So everyone's talking about some R&B singer on Twitter today. I don't remember who it was, but I'm like, wait, does anyone remember D'Angelo? That dude made me feel very uncomfortable.
How does it feel to look at you like this right now? Awkward, sir. Awkward.
I can see your pelvis muscles, sir. Can you pull up your pants? Please. I am 12 watching this music video. What are you doing? Stop.
Oh my God.
This is VH1, sir. This is where the housewives watch music videos. What do you... Never mind. I understand. I get it. Sting, obviously, you know, he came back at the end of 2020, but we usually do our evaluations December to November. So technically, last year's evaluation did not include Sting for that reason. So his entire comeback has been 2021 for us. 62 years old. Granted, he wrestled like he was in his early 40s when he was in his early 50s, so I'm not surprised he's wrestling like he's in his early 50s now that he's in his early 60s.
Yeah, you could damn near give it to my boy Christian alone for that Royal Rumble return.
Yep, he's on that list. Also because he won the world title for the first time in, what, a decade?
Yeah, that as well, man. Hell of a year for him.
Jazz is on this list, obviously, because, you know, she was in the tag team knockouts tournament and she also retired. And we don't do a retiree of the year, so, like, this is my way of paying homage to her.
Mm-hmm.
Chris Sabin's on this list, mostly because he's done some really good wrestling this year, and also because I cannot deny that he was the best part of Wrestle House.
Yeah, it's not even debatable. It's the fact that that's a gift now. That's a gift.
It's pretty special. Plus, I feel like he finally put himself back into the zeitgeist of wrestling. You know, and even though he was wrestling last year with Shelley, as a single star, I think he made himself far more valuable because he had some really good matches with like Moose. Didn't he beat Moose at Slammiversary?
What happened?
Didn't Sabin beat Moose at Slammiversary?
Yeah, I think he did. Yeah.
So, you know,
Yeah,
big wins.
Big win, Saban. Yeah.
Trevor Murdoch won the NWA World's Heavyweight Championship this year, and his last major title was 2005, so 17 years ago. So, yeah, I'd say that's a comeback. And he only came back to the NWA because Billy Corgan called him. Sorry, William Patrick Corgan. Douchebag. And Tajiri won the MLW Middleweight Championship at 50. So, like, yeah. That's pretty dope. I think he's actually older than 50. I think he's 51. Yeah, he's 51. So, yeah, he's the focal point of an entire weight division in MLW. That's pretty big praise. Lower card standout market. This is our award for the best guy on a brand who's not the top card guy. You know, one reason or another, he's getting looks. Got Ace Austin, Trey Miguel, John Gresham, Tajiri, Alex Kane. That's an MLW pick for those of you who don't know who Alex Kane is. Tom Lawler. That's a New Japan pick. Mandy Rose, because I guess I wanted, you know, something. I had a spot to fill. That's it. That's why she's on this list. I had a spot to fill and people are talking about her. That's all I need. to fill out the list because I know she's not going to win. And Josh the Good Woods. Speaking of people who's not going to win. Fucking name. Oh, I hate it. I hate it so much. At least for like Fred Yehai, he turned it into a fucking motion pun. And he's like, yeah, ever since I was yay high. Oh, I see what you did there, Fred.
I missed the pure tournament now.
Right? Oh, so good. I hope someone just fucking hijacks that entire division and brings it into the promotion.
Looking at you, John
Wait, John?
Gresham.
Oh, okay. I thought we were... Oh, yeah, because that's right. He launched Terminus.
Mm-hmm.
I think he's actually doing something similar like that for the rules. Because, like, Terminus is going to be kind of like Bloodsport with Josh Barnett's, where it's, like, going to have, like, specialty rules, and I can't wait for that. Like, oh, it's going to be so much fun. Female Wrestler of the Year, Mickie James, Deanna Purrazzo, Camille, Becky Lynch, Charlotte Flair, Bianca Belair, Jordynne Grace, and Mandy Rose. This is, again, just going with the most obvious picks. I'm not worried about brand and company representation. Just trying to get 8 women on this list. Because let's be honest, like, I don't want to put Charlotte on here. Camille's doing some solid work, but she's not doing a lot of work. Bianca had her, her run just end terribly, and I feel like you have to have a good ending to make your run matter.
Yeah.
So I feel like she didn't really have that great of a run because it was very forgettable too.
Yeah. Sorry for Chad doesn't care about Raquel Gonzalez just now.
Who?
Exactly. Yes.
I'm sorry. I don't like being stepped on by regular people. I don't like getting stepped on in my funky time. So like everyone who loves her is all like, yeah, step on me, and I'm like, all right, yeah, step on them so you kill them because that's fucking gross. You're weird. I will kink shame people. I don't give a fuck. I think you're weird. I'm coming for you.
They want her to step. She showcases her back and they ask for her feet. Okay.
All I'm saying, like, do you really need to be stepped on? Like, do you really need to fuck a giant gerbil? Like, what is wrong with you people? Like, how broken are you?
All of a sudden, Mr. Atlas is coming off very normal.
Respect to Atlas. That's a legend. Speaking of legends, we're talking about busts of the year. FTR, because fuck them. Big Show, because fuck him. He wrestled 3 times this year. Twice was on a YouTube show that was hardly advertised. Roosh, he was the Ring of Honor World Champion this year. Didn't know that? Don't blame you. Will Ospreay, he was the New Japan World Champion this year. Didn't know that? Don't blame you. Scarlet Bordeaux, remember when she was like one of the 5 reasons to watch Impact? She spent most of the year sitting at home collecting a paycheck. Not even a nice paycheck either. A bad paycheck. Like $40,000. Not per week or month. I mean per year. And then she got fired. And now she can't even go to Impact because she got beef with them. Because apparently Don Callis is a creep. Apparently. Remember Keith Lee? Bet you don't. He was on the WWE's main roster this year. Forgot that? Yes, you did. You know what you didn't forget, but what you did, Karrion Kross. Hey, at least his run was memorable. For all the wrong reasons. But at least it was memorable. And then finally, the biggest bust of the year is the WWE. Because fuck, I don't care. Terrible company. Terrible company. You make the list. Any disputes to any of those?
No, man. I mean, it's a colossal list of suck. Every one of you. You go to Moron Mountain.
Excuse me, Mr. Jordan.
You'll play one and you'll always lose.
Did they eat him? I feel like they ate him.
Oh, you talking about the fat guy? They was in a rocket and he got shot off onto a planet. I don't know if it was his planet again or whatever, but that could have also been a.
I think he landed on Moron Mountain. I think he was their new attraction.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm like, man, that could have also been a spinoff. Freaking Fat Guy's Revenge.
There you go. We only have 4 female feuds of the year because I only thought there was 4 good ones. So here we are. Deanna Prazo versus Mickie James. Thunder Rosa versus Britt Baker. Melina versus Camille. And Becky versus Charlotte. At least I'm being honest with you. I thought women's wrestling in 2021 sucked. I don't think women's wrestling sucks. I just think that what we got this year sucked. Now I know people will be like, well, AEW had some good women's matches, and yeah, so did Impact. But good matches don't make good feuds. Like, there's got to be more. And I'm sorry, but Britt Baker makes me want to put those aliens from Wrath of Khan in my ears because I cannot and will not listen to this woman talk. I can't. It's not as bad as Becky.
Yeah.
But it's not good.
Yeah.
Like, I understand why she's a dentist. Because no one wants to fucking talk to her. Just turn the fucking drill on, lady.
They're like, give me the gas.
Don't even worry about the gas. We ain't got time for that. Just put the thing in my mouth and go, and then send me home. I'll deal with the pain. It's better than listening to you talk. I feel like that Matthew Botchamania. You talk too much.
Yeah, Thunder Rosa is her own attraction, and the Becky Lynch and Charlotte thing got really interesting because, I mean, it was so close. I mean, it's real. It's real. You got two best friends turned enemies because life, man. It's just,
You got a human peacock versus a human marble dispenser. It's incredible.
The old man in the background going, she stole my gimmick.
I mean, yeah, but it's your daughter, Rick.
We're gonna get to you in a second, Rick.
Yeah, you're on the list, Rick. Don't worry about it. You're on the list. Male feud of the year. I couldn't narrow it down to just one, so I went with Kenny Omega versus Impact. Even though it's a new entry, I do like where this Josh Alexander feud's going. It's very, very enticing. Alexander Hammerstone versus Contra. This also leads into the Alexander Hammerstone Jacob Fatu match. That was definitely dope. Adam Page versus Kenny Omega. Chris Jericho versus MJF. That one, it took me a while to remember that one happened because of how early in the year it was. I'm glad that it happened. I'm going with Finn Juice versus the Good Brothers because, like with Marcus and the Pope, I'm biased, and I like seeing the Finn Juice win the tag titles. It's like, yeah, big fan of Juice Robinson. So, yeah. And then Trevor Murdoch versus Nick Aldis. Now, as far as news story of the year, this one was a little hard to come together with because there was so much, but I feel like I nailed it down to the 8 or 7. I think there's 7 on this. Ric Flair obviously got canceled finally by the cancel culture group, even though none of the stories, none of the events that we were told is new. Everything that he said or this woman said happened in this plane ride from hell 18, 17 years ago. We already knew, folks. 19 years ago. We already knew. This wasn't a new revelation. It's just people are now finally paying the fucking attention. And I'm telling you, when you realize that some of the shit people have said in the last 20 years, he ain't going to be the only one. Brother. We have 2 different promotions working together that I think are both big news. New Japan and Noah working together. That's huge. As well as Impact and AEW. That was also huge. Ring of Honor going on hiatus. Pretty much self-explanatory. CM Punk returning to wrestling. When he left, he was at the top of his game. And when he came back in Chicago with that packed crowd of 12,000 or whatever it was ridiculous. Ridiculous. How could he not make the list?
Yep.
NXT 2.0's launch and failure. Like, they're terrible. Like, holy crap. And the mass releases of the WWE. Then we have match of the year. Barbed Wire Massacre 4, Sami Callihan versus Eddie Edwards. I forgot about this match happening this year. I liked it. Give me some of that little ultra violence. Kenny Omega versus Rich Swann, 2021 Rebellion. This was a fantastic match. I quite enjoyed it.
Oh, yeah.
Then we had Shingo Takagi versus Zachary Sabre Jr. at Power Struggle. In the Alone, I liked what I saw match from the WWE. Roman Reigns versus John Cena at SummerSlam. I loved seeing Bald Cena. My time is up. My time is now. You can't see my bald spot. My time is now. Wicka, 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 wicka. So, you think you got hair plugs for men. Then you go into the middle of music. I can't make those sounds with my mouth, though. Word live. Wicka, wicka, wicka. Hair club for men. Sorry, John. I mean, I'm not, but sorry. NXT TakeOver 36, Walter versus Ilya Dragunov. People died in this match. Did you know that? Like, there were literal earthquakes that came from this match, Marcus. Part of small island nations were enveloped by the shockwaves and tsunamis that came from this match because it was just a slap fest.
Yeah, it's you pull out Vaseline or whatever else like in Neosporin and just bathe in it watching that match.
Yeah. What was it? Geez, what was it? The Water Boy, where he's all like, slap hands, slap hands. Don't slap hands. Don't slap hands. We also had Bryan Danielson versus Minoru Suzuki at AEW Rampage because, yeah, that's the match I'm going with because it's Murder Grandpa versus Bryan Danielson. Then we had Alexander Hammerstone versus Jacob Fatu at Fightland and the Young Bucks versus the Lucha Bros at All Out.
Yeah, that's one of the matches you don't have to like. This is a credit to them. You don't have to like either one of those teams to like that match.
Nope. Not even a little. Then we have the most popular, the last award. CM Punk, Minoru Suzuki, Sting, Bryan Danielson, Adam Cole, Big E, Josh Alexander, and Alexander Hammerstone. That's your nominees for the 2021 Wrestling Underground Awards. I'm going to make the polls probably tomorrow. You guys can start voting on them. I'll probably post it Wednesday. Go up with the rest of the week and the Woman Crush of the Week. Apparently, if you bought stuff from Pro Wrestling Tees, there's a chance that your information was breached. That's the word I was looking for. There were personal identifiers according to the breach, things like financial account numbers or credit card and debit numbers that were hacked and released. Confirmed, Pro Wrestling Tees confirmed that once the investigators was complete, the company said it made a list of users who were affected by the breach and then handed off that list to the breach notification company, which would then send out letters to inform the users. According to a report from Fightful on the issue, Pro Wrestling Tees was the only store affected by the breach, with popular sites like Shop AEW, Global Shop AEW, All Elite Crate, and Pro Wrestling Crate remaining safe from any intrusions. Now, I bought things from Pro Wrestling Tees this year. I got a letter from Pro Wrestling Tees this year. I was not affected, Marcus. Would you like to know why?
If I recall, last week I was rudely interrupted by life. You went through PayPal, if I'm not mistaken.
Yes, I was hoping that you didn't remember, and I could say it was because I was white and they were racist. But no, it's because I went through PayPal. Let this be a lesson to you. If there's a PayPal option, use it. Always use it. Like a condom. Only, unlike condoms, PayPal doesn't go bad. And don't put condoms in wallets. What are you doing? That shit's just plastic, homie. You know how easy it is to tear a condom? Don't put them in your wallets. What are you, stupid? Don't do that. Don't do that.
Even in the packaging, they need air.
Yep. Just bending and sitting on like, what are you doing? What are you doing? Speaking of what are you doing, we had to talk about some fans, man. Because I tell you what, some of these fucking fans are fucking stupid. So, I hate Twitter. I hate Facebook. I hate social media. It brought me into Marcus's life, so I'm thankful. Brought me into Zach and Andrew's life, so I'm thankful. Swisher's life, I'm thankful. But if I could destroy social media now that I've gotten everything I want from it, I would. Unfortunately, I need it for work. I need it for this fucking podcast. I need it for my life. I don't go on it very often because people are fucking stupid and cannot be rationed with. Their pea-sized brains cannot, in fact, grow. Unlike the Grinch's heart, which grew 3 sizes, which would kill him in real life. So, one fan, I'm not even going to name him, because they're fucking stupid and they're getting dragged online already. They made a list, and he's a YouTuber, and he's trying to get views. And that's all this was. But I saw this, and I needed to say something about this. So first and foremost, he posted these 25 reasons why AEW sucks. Secondly, most of the spelling is terrible. Oh, it's so bad. It's so bad, Marcus. Thirdly, they're all wrong. Like, these aren't even things. But here we go. His number one, I don't think it's like the number one reason, but it's the first reason. First reason, AEW failed to keep 1 million viewers. I don't know how that means they suck, considering that they're still over 1 million viewers every so often, and they're only under 1 million every so often. And like, what do you want, man? Like, they have their base, and they're growing. Like, look at the size of their fucking house shows, or not house shows, but their TV tapings. They're making bank. They're good.
Yeah. Agreed.
I think ratings is an outdated mode. I don't think we should even care, but whatever. Number 2, they rely on debuts. I don't disagree that they rely on debuts. I'm failing to see why that's a problem. That's excitement. Like that's what brought WCW and WWE to popularity in the late 90s, was the unexpected ability to see someone new.
Yeah, and also when it comes to certain talent, if you mess up on the debut, that's gonna be foundational foothold for where the rest of that booking's gonna go.
Why are we bringing up Sean Spears? Why is it always back to Sean Spears? Remember when he was trying to be built up as a heavyweight world title contender?
He was one of few people I saw because usually you do the favor on the way out when you leave NXT. He was one of few people who actually won in his last match in NXT against what was the name of Eric Young group at the time? Was Sanity?
Yeah, I think so.
Beat him in a cage match.
I think it was Vince Sanity. I think Eric Young's name was Vince Carter. Just dunking with the elbow. Relying on debuts isn't true, and highlighting debuts isn't a bad thing, because you got to keep in mind, NXT debuts a whole bunch of people. WWE debuts a whole bunch of people. Impact debuts a whole bunch of people. This isn't a bad thing. Shut the fuck up. This one didn't make any sense. Number 3 didn't make any sense when it was Impact, and it doesn't make any sense now. Still putting over AEW talent, or WWE talent. I don't know who ever thought that this was a good thing to bring into conversation. It does not matter if they're WWE talent, or AEW talent, or Impact talent, or New Japan talent. What matters is, are they a commodity that can help sell tickets, TV, pay-per-view, or merchandise? If so, use them. That's the only thing. That's the only thing that matters, Marcus, in this entire industry. Can you help us make money? If you can, fantastic. If you can't, there's the door. And here's the thing that really pisses me off. They're not WWE talent once they get fired. I don't understand. Like, I didn't get this argument when it was Impact, and I don't get it now.
It's that lowly attitude. It's the, like, young generation of guys, I hit it first, it's always mine, that whole deal or whatever, that stupid mentality. It's this ownership crap mentality.
Listen, stuff. You may have hit it first, but she only saw God with me.
Nah, an atheist. You tell me what that says.
Oh God. Matches have no build.
Like, finish the sentence. No build that you like.
Right.
No build at all, because they have build.
They built Kenny Omega, Adam Page for a year. What do you like? FTR and Young Bucks was being built when they were in different promotions. What are you talking about?
Jericho and MJF was being built the moment he joined the damn group.
Like, they're building up to a rematch between Bryan Danielson and Adam Page, and it's taking 3 or 4 weeks for it to happen. Like, what do you mean, no build? They have longer build in between matches than the UFC does for their first bouts between two top stars. What are you talking about? Oh my God, you don't know shit.
You know who's not worrying about build? Jake Paul's not worrying about build.
Jake Paul makes money on week fights announced within a week. Oh, Tyrone Woodley's gonna fight me. Yeah, here's a million buys. I don't know why people buy his shows, but they do. And now, like, he wants to fight Jorge Masvidal or George Masvidal. All right, fucking do it.
Mentioned Canelo, and somebody was like, "Please, let the dog commence."
So who's that short, big heavyweight? Usyk? He just beat Joshua like a few months ago. I forget his name. It's like Eunuch or something like that. Apparently, Canelo wants to fight him. And everyone's like, Canelo, he'll kill you. Yeah, he might only have like 2 inches on you, but he'll kill you. And I'm like, I need to see this fight now. Go to Japan, open weight bout. Let's do this.
Because not a big fan at all of Stephen A. But he was like, "Can we stop pretending like he's sitting up here knocking out real boxers?"
Oh, Jake Paul.
Yeah. He was like, Nate Robinson, such and such, just knocked out Woodley.
He planked Woodley. I'm sorry, man. Like, I want to like Woodley. He seems like a decent dude. Like, hey, his mom's super into, like, being his mom, and I find that adorable. But, like,
yeah, because Floyd fought Logan, right?
Yeah, and that was embarrassing.
The brothers are not looking good with these brothers right now.
So the dude that Canelo wants to fight apparently is Alexander Usyk. That's who I'm thinking of. He knocked out Anthony Joshua recently. I'd like to see Usyk take on a Paul brother. I think that'd be adorable. Let's do it. Champions brought no prestige to the world title. What? It's the belt everyone's going for. It's the centerpiece of all the storylines. Like, what do you mean no prestige? Like, what does that even mean? Like,
Yeah, I personally thought, and I don't know if people talked about this enough, but I personally thought that I'm gonna call him Amber. Moxley to me was the best pandemic champion.
Yeah, I can see that. That makes sense.
Yeah.
Then we have Buried Impact. This is the only one I partially agree with. I did not like how it all concluded. I feel like they purposely kept Kenny Omega away from Impact, from losing. And I don't like that. Now, granted, I know they were trying to save everything up for Page to get the win, but if that was always the end game, why put the belt on him in the first place? Why make Kenny the guy and not Christian or anyone else for that matter? So I feel like I feel like it was a mistake. Yeah. I don't feel like they buried them though.
Yeah, buried them. Yeah, buried them though, but they definitely didn't do them any favors either. Because and I think that's the word, because it always felt like that was the narrative, and that they reminded them at every turn that they were doing them a favor.
Yep.
Like, there was so much more they could have did. Like, we saw talent come over, but it's like the Impact talent almost wasn't good enough to come to AEW. Like, how much like juice you could have put in that women's division had Deanna gone over there and talked a bunch of smack and did what she's thriving at doing right now. but it always came off like, okay, we'll loan you Matt and the freaking private party or whatever, and just you need this help, that type of deal. So I don't know about buried, but they certainly didn't do a bunch of help.
No, they didn't. But I wouldn't say buried. Number
Yeah,
7, they ruined Sting. No.
ruined Sting.
WWE
No,
tried.
Seth Rollins almost ruined Sting unintentionally, but WWE, come on, man, that's not a ruined Sting. They got a grown ass man screaming every time he comes out.
Yup. Key demo narrative. That's not a pro wrestling thing. That's a television thing. I cover science fiction TV for work, and I can tell you, like, looking at the numbers and talking about the numbers, that's something that all television does. ESPN, CW, it doesn't matter. So that's nonsense. Cody Rhodes still putting himself over. He's one of the top guys. What do you like? That's dumb to me. He's not even excuse me, he's not even a world champion. He's in the mid card.
And narratively came up with a storyline to take himself out of being world champion. Uh, I guess in perpetuity. I don't know how much longer that's gonna last, depending on what he feel like. But from an end story on screen perspective, he can't even compete for the world title.
And that's been
So I
like
mean,
a year and a half, 2 years.
yeah, and now he did just win back the TNT title from Guevara, but that's about where he peaks at.
And like again, this is like one of those cheap kind of shots. Cody's only 36. He's in the prime of his career. He's a draw. He's a name. People like him or hate him. Why wouldn't you use him? Like that's the one thing that wrestling fans always kind of piss me off about. They think that everyone should always get the ball next. Oh, you had your one turn. It's that person's turn. No. In combat sports, you run with the draw until they're not a draw. You're not going to see Kamaru Usman just not be in the world title matches anymore for the welterweight division just because he's been there for long. Oh, well, let Leon Edwards have a turn with the belt. No. People like Francis Ngannou got as many shots against the world champion as he did because he knocked people out and was a draw. I'm sorry, but sometimes wrestling fans just sound like angry parents. But little Johnny deserves a toy, just like little Abraham. Like, why can't he get one? Because, bitch, this ain't a fucking birthday party for little Johnny. Just because you want to see another, what, you want to see Hook main event? You want to see who? Powerhouse Hobbs, Brian Cage? Like, I'm sorry, but there's a hierarchy in pro wrestling because it's based off of who draws money. It's that simple.
Yeah, they feel like whoever at the time was giving them their hearts a tug should get the rub, and that's just not how it goes, man.
No.
Like you talk about that all the time. That everybody's meant to be champion. Is that the third? And I get it, and I think it's obviously it's a part of it too, because it's like the argument. Well, all the champions are picked anyway. Like, yeah, but they're picked to drive the business forward.
Mm-hmm.
And Eddie Guerrero is a legend in every sense of the word, but there was a frustration he went through because unfortunately when he became champion, the needle didn't move.
Mm-hmm. It actually declined.
Yeah.
Number 10, exploit Brody Lee's death. Now, they didn't exploit it. He was an active wrestler who died tragically. But this is a WWE fan, so I'm just going to throw out just a handful of things. Jim Ross had anal polyps that was mocked, degraded, and disrespected on television by Vince McMahon. Could have been cancer. Vince didn't care. He made fun of him. That's exploitation. Owen Hart was forced to do a stunt that was ill-advised and unsupervised, and they turned the next night on Raw into a memoriam show. If what happened with Brody Lee was exploitation, continuing the show after the guy dies and then doing a memorial service for him that nobody wanted because his family was pissed, that seems like an exploitation. Edge had to retire. Daniel Bryan had to retire. How many other wrestlers had to retire? They all went out there and did their speeches and said, I had to go and goodbye and all the tears and oh my God, I'm so sad. That's exploitation. 9/11. 2 days later, they're out there doing, my father, when he was on steroid trial, he wouldn't back down. We're not going to back. That's exploitation. You're mad about exploitation with AEW and brutally? Like, look at the WWE, homie.
And Chaz talked about this extensively. I mean, it's a two-sided thing because it takes two. But they exploit fatal illnesses.
Mm-hmm.
On a yearly basis as a part of a long-standing narrative. So let's not. And also, like I said, it's a two-pronged thing because not every thing is as legitimate as it seems on the surface. But a lot of that stuff is PR stuff. So your whole thing about exploitation, like how hard it was for those that company to probably do what they did to keep that whole thing under wraps the way that they did.
Mm-hmm.
They hurdled around that family and has probably done more like during and in the interim. I mean, during in the aftermath than a lot of companies in entertainment period would have done. I think that kid has a contract, I guess for good or whatever that is, but he's been a part of the thing, and God, and who knows how else they've supported that family. Since
his widow, I think, is now an interviewer.
Got that, you know what I'm saying? So and then obviously I think they have she has another younger son. So I think they've done a stand-up job for that family, man.
Hey, remember when Roman Reigns had to tell people that his leukemia is back on live television? That sure as shit didn't feel like exploitation, right? Hey, remember when Jeff Hardy went on tour and just left? I don't know, making somebody work that didn't want to be there.
Didn't they turn his real life situation with a car accident or something into a storyline with Sheamus?
I think so. They exploited his drug habit and drug abuse for a storyline. Just like, Road Warrior Hawk, an actual alcoholic whose entire storyline was based on his alcoholism. I'm just saying. AEW is doing a lot for Brody Lee's family. I don't hear WWE doing a fucking peep for Drozdov or Hawk or Animal or anyone. So, I don't know. Fucking check that shit. Number 11, plenty of talent that's buried and hasn't been featured. All right, they have 4 shows. They're featuring plenty of talent. Just because you're not watching doesn't mean they're not featuring it. That's dumb. Claims to be progressive, yet nobody of color has been pushed. Boy, Marcus, is this a hard one, man? Because this person doesn't know what color is, apparently. Because Nyla Rose pushed pretty good. She's Native American. Tribal American. Then you have, who is it? Cheetah, Japanese. Well, clearly a white person. The Lucha Bros. Those are white people. White people, indeed. Kerwin White. Now, if they want to sit here and say, well, they haven't had any black world champions, all right, they haven't. Fair. But if that's the only qualifier for being pushed, then your qualifier is stupid. I'm not saying that they don't need to have a black world champion eventually, because they do. Everyone needs shades of the rainbow, so to speak, eventually. They've only been around for 2 years, 3 years, tops. And the world champions have been who? Chris Jericho, Jon Moxley, Kenny Omega, and Adam Page. Not exactly a lot of turnover in that company there, my friend.
Yeah. And then about not being progressive would be not having the Nyla Roses, the like you said, the Lucha Brothers. Freaking hey, she might not even should be in the position she's in right now. Like I said, Jade Cargill is getting pushed to the.
Mm-hmm. Didn't she do something with Cody?
Yeah, she debuted against Cody. And then that turned into a whole thing with Shaq, and then that was a whole thing. Thunder Rosa is not white. Um, it's a lot. Like they, freak. They and Sunny Kiss at the time. It's like you said, the whole Black World Champion thing. They've only had 4 world champions, and we need to be thankful they haven't hold out that championship around because we've seen that happen a lot of times.
Mm-hmm. Impact in its first 2 years.
Exactly. I'm glad you said it because I was sure thinking that. We know how those contracts go of debuting talent. Hey, you're gonna get a title probably the same night, I feel like they did that with Aries.
Yeah.
I think they freaking did do that with Aries.
And he beat Pentagon too. Ugh.
Oh my god. But yeah, but the progressive thing, I'm like, look, just kind of slow your horses. Um, we still, your man Powerhouse Hobbs, Anthony Bowen's there.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, just give it time.
If he
So
stops putting his foot in his mouth, Anthony Ogogo could be huge.
yeah, I mean they have a problem overall, and I'm surprised this didn't make the list. But a lot of this kind of feels personally petty. This list, they probably got more talent than they know what to do with, even across 4 shows.
Mm-hmm.
That they need to kind of reshuffle and kind of maybe tone it back a little bit. Um, but that's a whole different thing. And like I said, I don't think it's yeah, because it's weird. The next thing you talk about the panel of color, and then you go to the next person mentioned is Hobbs.
It feels like they're using the race angle as a cheap dig.
Yeah.
Because it's not like it was 10 years ago or 15 years ago or 20 years ago. Biggie, Roman, Moose, Gresham. Not every company needs to have a non-white champion at the same time. Not every company needs to only have non-white champions to be progressive. It's a cheap, pathetic dig. There are plenty of non-white champions in various promotions you can attach yourself to if that's your need. Not every company needs to be doing everything for everyone at every time. And I feel like people who bring up race like this are just using it as a stick. They don't actually care. It's just something that they can hit you with.
Yeah, I don't. I'm not one of these guys that just want to see a guy be champion just because he's black, and I feel like that needs to be, that because that makes the thing look good. I'm like, you look at the champions across the country, across the companies. What's the narrative? Moose has been being built to be a champion for years now.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? Gresham, years, like second to none in that ring across any company. Um, and other names. I mean, frick, obviously MLW with the Fatu, that's of color and stuff like that. So, like I said, I get certain instances with certain stuff, but some of this stuff just comes down to booking with their talent in general. They still trying to get the women together. They still trying to, they got guys like Cage there, and they seemingly don't have anything for him. And then we see other guys on the show, and then they show up on the show a lot, but they don't really do nothing. A la another talent that happens to be black, Scorpio Sky and his karate companion.
Yeah.
Stuff like that. So I think they need to kind of reshuffle their deck and kind of see who needs to be pertinent and not, as opposed to just popping up on the show to show us that they still there. But I don't think that's nothing racially motivated.
No. Orange Cassidy's over huge. Powerhouse Hobbs is still finding his legs. Yeah, Orange Cassidy's going to go over. That's like saying, I can't believe Rey Mysterio beat Scott Norton. What can't you believe about it? Rey Mysterio is a draw. Scott Norton, I love the guy, but 1999 WCW, he wasn't exactly a needle mover. Of course, Rey's going over. Same situation. It has nothing to do with race. It has to do with who's connecting with the audience. Claims to be sports-based. They are. They have wins and losses. Like, they have title matches based off of wins and losses. Like,
And a ranking system.
I'm confused. Are they supposed to throw a ball around now? Like, is there like a walk-off home run that Sting's supposed to hit to end every show? Like
A ranking system, time limits.
Draws, which is very much a sports thing. CM Punk burying their young talent. What? Do you know what burying is? Because, like, losing a competitive match isn't burying, homie. World title matches that end in a draw. How is that a bad thing? I hate to break it to you, but the Pittsburgh Steelers aren't 7-6 this year. They're 6-6-1 because they had a draw. Football, hockey, soccer have draws. Why? Wrestling, MMA has draws. Like boxing has draws. Why wouldn't wrestling? Like this is fucking stupid.
Look,
Fucking
as
stupid.
Impact fans, I saw that, man, give me a draw over a F finish any day.
Exactly. Because
Sure.
that's how you protect both wrestlers. 20, 30, 40-minute time limit draw, boom, protected. Constant botches. Apparently, he hasn't realized that Nia Jax has been gainfully employed for 8 years. And that's just one person. I could find more.
He sounds like somebody never got over that Matt Sydal thing. What that was 2 years ago or something.
Oh,
When he went
yeah.
He's
Yes.
never gotten over that.
I love when someone botches in AEW because Excalibur will always be like, well, he tried to, plant his leg and he slipped, and that it happens. And it does. Like, if you watch like an MMA fight, they go for some crazy shit and it doesn't always land. It doesn't always work. Like, could you imagine like calling in an MMA bout and like someone throws like an overhand right and the guy ducks out of the way? Oh, it's a botch. What are you, a bitch? What is fuck off? Tony Khan playing a character on TV. Ah, jeez. Vince, Stephanie, Triple H, Shane, Linda. I'm just saying, man. Like
Anybody that's ever worked behind the scenes in the Impact.
Eric Bischoff, Scott D'Amore, Vinny Rue. Like, come on, man. Like, that's a weak reason to hate it. Then just Rampage. He hates Rampage. It's a 1-hour show that features all the talent he wishes got more time, but he hates it.
The reason why it's successful is because it doesn't have more time.
Right? Here's another reason, number 20. Act like they're edgy and then cry on the internet. You mean like Seth Rollins?
That's most of the wrestlers in general, unfortunately.
Right?
That's not a company specific thing. Trust us. We've had a whole year and a half of a movement where we had to see it firsthand.
Yup.
That's not a company specific thing.
Getting kicked off TNT to go to TBS. 1, they're not getting kicked off. It's the same fucking company. 2, TBS and TNT have just about the same identical housing numbers, so they're not even losing out on potential viewers. 2, TBS does not have as many sports programs that TNT does. TNT has to accommodate for the NBA, the NHL, and I think they're getting another sports league here in the spring or summer. So, like, all right, yeah, they're going to TBS. That's not exactly a downgrade. WCW thrived on TBS for decades when it was Crockett Promotions, but still.
Like, oh my God, they're getting kicked off TBS, and then in my mind, I just see that scene from Smallville when Clark put on a ring and got on a motorcycle and drove to Metropolis, and it was down the street.
Oh, yeah.
You will obey me, Kal-El. I was like, he's going down the street, Jarrell. Oh.
Absolutely no in-ring psychology, but this is the best part. Absolutely no I'm ring psychology. I am the psychology.
Somebody doesn't like the Bucks.
No, well, all right. Granted, if we're talking the Bucks, yeah, but they're one tag team out of the entire fucking plethora of groups. Like, don't be fucking stupid. This dude's fucking stupid. Don't be fucking stupid. Do majority of their shows in Chicago. So Marcus, they've done 52 weeks of television. 37 weeks have been in Chicago, apparently.
Ain't that one of like the top tier wrestling towns ever, or in general?
Yeah. And I think they've only done like 3 or 4 shows in Chicago.
Yeah, they keep going to a town where one of the top talents is heralded like a king. Look, man, it's that's just good.
Let's ignore all the times WWE goes to LA or New York in a given year, because apparently that's okay. They're fans. I don't know, man. I feel like this dude is like quintessential WWE fan, and he's fucking stupid. They exploiting Owen Hart's death with a tournament to take another jab at WWE. Like, fuck, how narrow-minded are you to actually say that? Now, this isn't the first thing that we saw. We saw another dude go off on why he hates Martha Hart for allowing this. But, like, the thing is, the WWE literally got him killed. She's never going to forgive Vince McMahon, and she has every right not to. They killed her husband. They took her children's father away from them. They did it because they used cost-saving measures with the harness group because they didn't want to pay the guy that usually does the rigging, which I think was what WCW was using, was a specific guy. They didn't want to pay him the money, so they used somebody else who didn't have the same kind of experience. It directly led to Owen's death. And the WWE had to pay out of a massive amount of money out of court, if I remember correctly, for his death. The idea that she would ever do anything good for WWE is right. It's obvious. Like, and this is the cult mentality of people who worship at the feet of Vince. I'm not even an AEW fan. Like, I think I've watched maybe 4 hours of AEW all year.
Yeah, I'm not even really that big a fan either. But I'm not so inherently biased or just butthurt in general because it's something alternative. Like people almost get mad that there's alternatives. You hate what's established, but you don't like alternatives. Like I don't understand that mindset. But yeah, it's also even if they don't like Vince, it's like they have this weird. We talked about it before the show. This ownership over Owen or something. It's like how do you have more claim over this man's legacy than his wife? Like I don't understand. Him being in WWE's corny ass Hall of Fame does not lend any more legitimacy to that man's career. Doesn't make him a more legit performer. Doesn't add money to his family's narrative. Doesn't add notoriety, any type of depth to the Hart legacy. Nothing. All it does is get them publicity. That's the whole point.
Mm-hmm.
We know the game. We know how it's so. It does not. What would it make you more of a fan that he's in WWE's Hall of Fame? That don't even make sense. You're a half-baked ass fan if that's the case. So I don't like. I really that's really what a lot of that butthurt stuff comes from. Like he's not. She won't let him get in their Hall of Fame. It doesn't matter. It's not a real thing.
Nope.
It's a narrative that they've been selling for years that ultimately doesn't mean anything. The names that they put in there delegitimize it in itself.
The Godfather Hall of Famer. He's not even a good wrestler. He's not even an iconic name. Like, he's in the fucking Hall of Fame. Do you know how sad that is?
Stood on any moral high ground, Jimmy Superfly Snooker and the Ultimate Warrior, if they stood on any moral fiber high ground. Are you serious? Like, we get the wrestling characters, but are you serious?
Sometimes reality shouldn't take a backseat to fiction. You know, like, yeah, Ultimate Warrior, Jimmy Snuka, big names, but also like they're terrible people. Yoink. I don't get, and it goes twofold, but I feel like there's at least more reasoning for AEW fans to hate WWE because all AEW fans at one point were WWE fans. We've all been WWE fans at one point. It's just like it's almost like this rebellious attitude that these people have. Like, oh, you left, but I'm staying because I don't turn my back on family. Listen the fuck up, Vin Diesel. They don't care about you. They want your money. I don't think Tony Khan gives a shit about me. If I get fucking a leg taken off by a goddamn predator monster, I don't think Tony Khan's sending me to get my fucking leg reattached. I know he don't care about me. I know Scott D'Amore don't know my name. I'm fine with that because guess what? I can pick and choose my wrestling fandom. It's easy. I like this. I like this. I like that. I don't like that. I kind of like this. I don't like that. I don't need to only pick one corner. I love Impact. I will stop watching if Matt Cardona's champion. Fucking bet. I love MLW. Davey Richards, Alexander Hammerstone, fucking Alex Kane, Calvin Tankman. Got some good young up and comers in that brand. I like the NWA. Don't love it. I like it. Ring of Honor has always kind of piqued my interest. I love Japanese wrestling when I have English commentary. It's
Yeah.
okay to like different things. Like this mentality of, well, you can only like one thing is such a dumb person thing. And I mean this. It is a dumb person thing. I see it all the time with UFC fans. Oh, you watch something other than UFC? What, you don't like good quality product? You like baby fighting? What does that even mean? What does baby fighting mean? What does that mean? And it's like these people get so attached to these charismatic frontmen like Vince and Dana White that they don't even realize that they're full of shit 90% of the time. Dana White literally said, I don't need to lie. I've never lied. And then like some people on what was it, Bloody Elbow, like compiled a list of all the times Dana White lied. But people are going to sit here and think, oh, Dana White never lied. Vince McMahon's a bad person. He's a bad dude. I don't know if this is like battered wife syndrome, but it's something for all these people to be sitting there going, oh, Vince, I'll suckle at the teat for the rest of eternity. And I don't think Tony Khan's a goddamn humanitarian. He's trying to make money. I think he's going to make a lot of money with this promotion because he knows what he's doing.
Maybe it's the bullshit car salesman thing. It's like, I know you're fucking me, but make it sound good.
Right? Like it's like that prostitute. Like, you paid her. Now she's saying she loves you and she wants you to put a baby in her, and you believe her. But bitch, you paid her to say that, and you believed her.
And now she's finna have an 18-year hold on you and whatever resources that you've acquired that she would like.
That's basically what Vince is doing. Give me your 18 years and your money.
It's just weird. Maybe I need to experience more life with this next point. But as somebody who's grown up not having a lot, it seems counterproductive to me to be pissed off at options.
Right? Right? Oh my God. Wait, you mean I can have more than just this one thing? I can have multiple things? I can have multiple things at the same time?
Oh, man.
What? It's insanity. What? Don't be a tribalist little bitch. If you don't like WWE because of Vince McMahon's history of mistreating people, I think that's a fair thing. If you're like me and you don't like WWE because they don't ever pay off anything they start to build up to, that's fair too. They're bad at it. And it's not going to get better until Vince is gone. I wonder how many of these people are still going to be like gung-ho about sticking with WWE when Vince eventually sells the company to like CBS or NBC or Fox or Disney or whatever. I wonder if they're still going to be gung-ho when they're like, yeah, NXT 2.0 is going to be the template for all of our shows now.
Yeah, it's just... You can keep your head up that company's ass, whatever. Like I said, like most people... even if they see the prosperity over the horizon, they just like what they used to. They're just how people are wired naturally. But look, you have no claim as a fan. You watch these people, and when they're no longer on your TV, that's about where it stops. But talking about having claim over a person who no longer exists on this plane and their legacy. More so, like you get to dictate what their family should do with their legacy. Are you insane? Like you Twitter thumb thugs. Like go somewhere and punch sand. You pathetic flat scans. Like you don't like just. Are you going to a dead man's wife because you don't like what she's doing with her husband's business dealings or what have you? In the aftermath of his death, all these years later, the fact that she still wants anything to do with wrestling at all,
yup,
is astounding to me.
Because that was one of the things that was brought up in that behind what was it, the Dark Side of the Ring was right. The family hates pro wrestling because of his death.
Yeah.
So if Tony Khan or because like I don't know who started the idea and who pitched it and whatnot. But clearly somebody got in her ear and said, hey, we want to do right by you. We want to do right by Owen. Like Christian worked with Owen for a little while. Christian debuted in '98, so he worked with Owen for a little while. Maybe it was him. I don't know. Maybe it was Paul White. Maybe it was Mark Henry.
Did,
Mark Henry and
did
Owen were close.
did Jericho work with it? Well, yeah, definitely Mark Henry because he talked about Owen all the time. But did
Jericho and
Jericho?
Owen worked together in some of the Canadian territories and throughout some time, but they didn't work together, I think, in WWE because he debuted in August and Owen had already passed by then. But they did know
Yeah,
each other because Jericho trained at the
yeah, and it's
Hard
like,
Dungeon.
like man, as a fan, like I didn't grow up watching Owen. I've never really gone back and watched a lot of his stuff. I'm not really a hard guy, but everything I've ever heard about that guy seems like to me like he's clearly one of the most beloved people across the industry.
Mm-hmm.
As a fan, that's all you could hope for because over the past however many years, a lot of you have gotten booted. I've had your head booted out of the asses of a lot of these people because you can't turn your head away from the fact that they are scumbag, damn near criminals.
Mm-hmm.
So you need to be happy that you're a fan of anybody that's still holding up on the up and up morally. So like just I don't know, man. Like you said, this Twitter's this social media sphere just is like a space for a lot of these sycophants to kind of just feel like they just have this ownership space where they finally get a place where they could be kings, and that's just not. Like I said, this is again, it's a narrative that don't exist. But you don't. But it's just sickening to see somebody go and like talk trash about an innocent woman who's only doing what what she thinks I would imagine is best for her family. So
So, with all that being said, I think we've exhausted our resources for the night. RealNerdCorp.com, RealNerdCorp.com. We're on Twitter at NERDCORP. We are on Twitch.tv/Wrestling Underground. Let's see what else. We have Marcus. You're on Twitter at Paradox Kid, PARADOXKID.
that is me.
We also have him on his other podcast, The True Penny Show, TRUEPENNYSHOW. Check them out on Twitter. I'm on Twitter as well at Chad Nerdcorp, CHADNERDCORP, and on the Instagram at Chad's Photo Hut. Be sure to tune in next week as we preview the January 4th Dome Show, Night 1, Night 2, Night 3 with Noah. And we'll be talking about that. And then the week after that, we'll give our winners for the 2021 Wrestling Underground Award. So tune in for that week. So the next week will be fun. No New Year's Eve marathon this year. Sad but true. But if you think that's depressing, at least you're not Kim Kardashian because apparently Kanye West just bought a house across the street from her. Yup. Could always be worse.
Oh, this dude, I feel like he's on her more separated than he was when they were married. Yo, this dude was like, oh, you're not finna just, oh, Pete, you finna go get Pete Davidson? Oh, no, okay. All right, you playing. Okay.
So somebody literally just posted this on Twitter. Kanye and Pete Davidson taking out the trash in the morning, and it's the scene from John Wick 2 with Common and Keanu Reeves shooting at each other in the crowded tunnel as people are just walking.
I could just see the South Park writers just having a field day right now.
Oh, that's fantastic. This is funny as shit. I feel bad for Kim, I do, because she seems like a decent human being. She wants to be a human rights lawyer, and she's dating Pete Davidson, who's like, yeah, all right, he's a little bit trashy, but he seems like a decent dude. And then here's Kanye going full crazy, like, oh man, no, goddamn. All right, so with all that being said, we're done for the week. We'll see you guys next week. Yeah, that's all I got. Marcus, take us home.
Never go full Kanye. Good night, me.